This is Radar from the Entertainment Blog coming at you with another edition of MLB Observations of the 2024 season, Week 15. Let's start with the Dodgers. With the Mookie Betts out, Ohtani's been elevated to leadoff spot, and on some days Will Smith is batting second, and other days it's Teoscar Hernandez. Like, what are you doing? Will Smith has been batting cleanup, and Hernandez is batting fifth or sixth, and both of them are all-star players, and you want them to drive in runs and hit home runs, but the problem is, when you bat, like Miguel Rojas, who's a glove first player, and Pajas, who's the rookie, in these 4, 5, and 6 spots in the lineup. And then you got Gavin Lux, Tiki Hernandez, and Chris Taylor, and the young guy Vargas and Biggio, who they just picked up. It doesn't really scare you. You're like, okay, cool. Tani does his damage. And if Will Smith doesn't start, and Hernandez is batting second, and then you go Freddie Freeman, you're like, cool. Once I get those three guys, I don't need to worry about anything else. So that's not really a scary team there, okay? And then the whole Vargas is an infielder. Well, why don't you just play him in the infield instead of playing him in the outfield? You're already doing the Mookie Betts thing when he was healthy, playing him in the infield when he should be in the outfield. And Biggio, I know they like Gavin Lux, but Biggio's not a first baseman. Austin Barnes is a catcher, so it's weird to keep seeing him pop up at second base occasionally. And utility man Kiki Hernandez pitching a blowout, which is what you usually do. You get a utility player. And Ryan Yarbrough, the Dodgers have been battling injuries in the rotations. I don't know why they just don't start this guy. Brewers. The biggest issue is Contreras is an all-star power-hitting catcher, drives in a lot of runs. It would make more sense if he was cleanup, and Willie Adames, who makes a lot more contact, gets on base, has a better average, would be batting second. One day they said, bet Rhys Hoskins seconds. Dude, you got Rhys Hoskins to drive in runs to protect Yelich. And then they've been battling so many injuries in this rotation, they had to go trade for Dallas Keuchel and Savali. So why don't you just start Jacob Junis? Because that's what you said when you signed him in the offseason. You were going to start him. Then Monasterio is the second baseman, third base, and I think he's probably a shortstop. So him playing at first base is odd when you have two first basemen. And then you got Jake Bauers, your first baseman, pitching in a blowout. Mariners, J.P. Cropper leading off. That's the thing I've done mostly correct this week. And one time Rojas batted second. What I don't want to see is Mitch Garver second. He's clearly a slow-footed catcher who just hits home runs. So he's not a two-hitter. And Julio Rodriguez, he wasn't batting third or second today, this past week. He was batting cleanup. I don't know. I've been telling you, he's been great in the two spot. If you want to bat in third, cool. But cleanup, I don't know. Mariners have had some injuries in the rotation, but they're probably healthy enough. So Austin Foth, who's the starting pitcher, is pitching out of bullpen still. And Luke Raley, we've been over. He's the first baseman DH who's masquerading as an outfielder. So there should be no reason he's ever even playing center field, let alone right field. And then Dylan Moore, we know he's a utility player, but he's an infielder. So stop playing him in the outfield. And Ty France is an all-star caliber, good offensive first baseman. He's not batting eighth. And Toronto, I'm a huge Spencer Horwitz fan, him playing for Team Israel. But he's not a leadoff hitter. I don't even want him batting second either. Okay? He's played first base once, but he's playing a lot of second base, and I'm just going to get over this. Schneider's still playing the outfield on days, and Varshall's moving to center field. They got this Barker dude who's also playing third base and left field. What is he? Again, Schneider won the second base job because Merrifield left in free agency. They traded Espinal to the Reds, and they got rid of Biggio. That means you won. He should be playing second base every day. I don't understand. Horowitz played a lot of outfield because for a lot of first basemen, if they can't play first base in the Major League, they play him in left field or right field. So he'd be better off to play him in the outfield if you're going to start him. And then Springer leading off. Like, it's been all over this season for him. He's batted leadoff second. He's batted cleanup. He's batted sixth or seventh. Like, come on, you got to find a consistent spot for him. And then Bo Bichette batted second a few times, but then they just confounded by batting him third or fourth. Like, what are you doing with him? He's a really good player. Like, keep him in the same spot. Arizona, Corbin and Marte 1 and 2 is great. Just don't put Corbin Carroll 6th or 7th. The two of them are great at table setting for the team. Not Perdomo is not, but when he does play batting second's fine. Just he's not a 6th or 7th there. He's not an RBI home run guy. And then Gabriel Moreno, I would put him in the 7th or 8th spot. I would not bat him in second because, again, he's a slow catcher. San Diego. I guess you have to play someone at first base because you don't have one. So Luis Ariz, who's never been the greatest defensive second baseman, he's played third base and left field as well. You'll play him at first base. Profar is no longer batting third or fourth, which is good. He's batted second. He's had a rebound season, so congratulations on making the All-Star team. That's good for you. Cronenworth, he's still batting third or fourth, and that's not really his game, but at least he's playing second base. And then who would have thought that Donovan Solano would be on this team and DHing a lot of days, and Tyler Wade would be on this team? That's interesting. Again, Solano's not a DH. DH Manny Machado, you DH, Arise, whatever you want to do. A's. J.J. Bleday, he went from batting third or second to now he's consistently batting leadoff and he's playing center field because literally Seth Brown was DFA'd. Then he came back and played first base, so I don't know what's going on there. But Ruiz and Butler, the young outfield, they should play them more on a regular basis because Rooker's a DH. But they're out there playing Andujar in left field and Nevin in the outfield. And the problem is both of them are not outfielders, and Andujar is a power guy, not a top-of-the-order hitter. Geloff should be batting second. If he's not, bat him 8th or 9th. He's not a 6th hitter. They have Des Cameron, who's just occasionally playing, but he batted leadoff once, which was good. Nevin did play some first base, which is fine, but Butler batting 5th is also a weird spot for him. Orioles, the whole Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman 1 and 2 have all been saying this, that it doesn't matter if it's Kjerstad, if it's Kauser, if it's Westberg or Hayes, or Mateo or Urias, none of those guys are 5 through 7 hitters. Just make your lineup a little bit better there. And then the whole Gunnar playing shortstop when he played third base a lot last year, still thought that wasn't the plan. And then O'Hearn again, stop playing him in the outfield. If he's not going to start at first base or DH, you're just giving the man the day off. Minnesota, Willie Castro, I'm glad he's been leading off consistently and playing a lot of infield, but then they confound it by throwing him in the outfield. Correa and Larnach, like those guys should be in the middle of the lineup, not 2. Buxton went from leadoff to 3rd to 5th to now 7th. Like, what are you doing with this guy? And then they had their DH last, which is a waste of a DH spot. Houston, Altuve, I'm okay with him leading off it. The second hitter is Pena, which has happened a few times. But Bregman leading off one day and him consistently batting second, he's supposed to be in the middle lineup with Yordan Alvarez. Yordan Alvarez is not getting a lot of protection if Jake Myers or Pena are batting right behind him. And then they lost the DH maneuvering. Dubon's still playing the outfield when he's an infielder. And Cabbage is an infielder, still playing the outfield as well. Colorado, Tovar leading off and Rogers 2. Cool. Blackman and Tovar 1 and 2. Makes sense. Speed and contact. I've been over this. Diaz has been a good offensive catcher, but he's not a cleanup hitter on most teams. And Doyle's has really stepped up offensively this year after winning Gold Glove, but he can't. Not a middle of the lineup hitter. And then the whole Nolan Jones, they want his bat in the outfield, but then Goodman, who's a catcher, is also in the outfield. You're just setting yourself up for a disaster by playing a lot of infielders in the outfield. And then Rogers, again, he's good in the 2 spot. He's not a middle lineup hitter. And then Peter Lambert should be starting. The Rockies don't have great pitching. Kansas City, I've been tired of Garcia leading off. I thought he should be low in the lineup, and they did lower him just for a few days. But what's him batting second? Like, come on. I mean, about playing second base. He's the third baseman. Just keep him there. I wrote down you're batting 8th once. I think that's a little bit too low. Bobby Witt Jr. is perfect in the 2 spot. Lofton's utility guy. He's not a first baseman. Hampson, again, infielder is not an outfielder. MJ Melendez is a catcher playing the outfield. He's not a great defensive outfielder. For me, your backup catcher. You never DH that guy. I did like that Adam Frazier let off once, but he's not an outfielder. Salvador Perez-Benavides, if he's not going to catch, just give him a DH, just get him out of the field. And Bubik, he's supposed to be in the rotation, but he obviously was out for a long time with injury, so his injury seemed pitch out of bullpen. Rangers, Simeon Seager 1 and 2. It's the same thing with the Orioles. I feel like you make your lineup a little bit better if Seager was batting 3rd. They had their GH batting last, which was a waste one day, and Jankowski is a backup outfielder, not a power hitter, so he should not be DHing. And this whole Smith batting 3rd and then getting a hit and doing what they're supposed to do, I just don't. He's not a 3 hitter. And then Arena was starting games with him. Now he's in the bullpen. And then Tampa Bay, I've been over this. Yanni Diaz would drive in a lot of more runs and hit more home runs if he wasn't batting leadoff. Brandon Lau's good in the 2 spot. Rating as Arena, doesn't matter if he's 3, 4, 5, and 6. He's not a 2 hitter. 5 is fine. Rosario, I think 3 and 4 is a little bit too much. If he's your 5 or 6 hitter, that's good. And the whole Palacios going back and forth, the infield and the outfield. What is he? Atlanta, when Michael Harris went down, I was like, well, Kalenic's going to probably play center field, and he did. And he's been leading off, and now he's been batting second. And it don't matter the combination of Olsen, Ozuna, and Riley. They're 3 through 5. And then Duvall is 6th, and they brought back Eddie Rosario, so it's 7th in a way. And then you got the catcher and the shortstop. Like, Atlanta's been doing it correctly. Philadelphia, they were doing it correctly when Harper and Schwarber were out with Stott and Trey at the top. But what they did not do correctly was Marshall batting cleanup 5th or 6th, and that's not where he belongs. They were playing Clemens at first base, like Harper. Both of them are not first basemen. Now that Schwarber's back, cool, he's back to DHing, but he's not a leadoff hitter. And then Stott went back to batting 4th or 5th or 6th, and that's not where he belongs. And Whit Merrifield gone back and forth between infield and outfield when he's an infielder. Cleveland, again, this Martinez guy, he's an infielder. He played infield once, but they him in the outfield. Schneemann and Freeman, what are they? Shortstops or infielders playing the outfield. Stop doing that. At least they stopped playing Fry in the outfield. He's been inconsistent at bats at first base and DH. Jimenez was great in the 2 spot, so why put him down in the 6 spot? They lost the DH maneuvering, and then Sheeman batted 4th. I'm like, dude, this guy's not a power hitter. Giants. Soler should be in the middle lineup. Never should be leading off. Lamonte Wade Jr., if you want to try him in the leadoff spot and not the 2 spot, go for it. But he's also not a first baseman. And all the injuries in the outfield, I would play him in the outfield. Bailey, he's been showing a pretty good offensive catcher, but he's not a top hitter. He's not a middle lineup hitter. Slater, They've traded him, but again, he's not a leadoff hitter or a two-hitter. And then Tyler Estrada has won the second base job. You should not be DHing him. You want to try him to lead off or two spot? Cool, not fifth or sixth. And I know Ramos made the All-Star team because the Giants need an All-Star, but it's like 3 is a little bit too high for him. Cincinnati, India and Cruz leading off. I've been over this. It's a great combination. Steer batting third or fourth with Candelario, great combination. Steer playing a lot of first base. But now recently he's playing a lot of left field, and then one day batted him second, one day batted him leadoff. Like, keep the top of the lineup the way it was. He's not top. He's third or fourth. Martini was playing a lot of outfield, which was what I've been saying before he got hurt. Espinal playing the outfield when he's not an outfielder. And when they got Austin Slater, I said on my podcast, oh, no. They've had injuries to the outfield. They're going to play this dude in center field. He's not a center fielder. And guess what they did? They played him in center field. Like, what are you doing? I was like, please don't do this. Detroit, Matt Yearling, the backup, has turned into a very good player for the Tigers. They play a lot of backups. But again, him leading off or batting second has been great, but he's not a three-hitter. Him playing center field or left field, great, but he's not a third baseman. Okay, I know you have a lot of outfielders. Cole Keep, him batting second is great. And that, like, when Winston Perez or Green are batting 1 and 2, which you really can't put everyone 1 and 2, sometimes they're batting third or fourth, and I'm like, they're not middle lineup hitters. Canna, again, they spent Spencer Torkelson down. Canna's got the first opportunity to play first base every day, not the outfield. McKinstry, I know he's a utility player, but he's not an outfielder. And I wrote, again, that he did it, like, twice, like, because I saw him doing it. But, again, he's not a six-hitter. And Iabani is playing first base. Again, he's a good utility player, but not a first baseman. And they wasted a DH spot, again, on the last spot. Then the Yankees. What's up with this? Rice has been your leadoff hitter. And they're like, we're going to make him the cleanup hitter. Like, dude, he's a rookie catcher playing out of position. The whole Soto second, and playing right field. And Judge was playing center field at the time, but now with Stanton's injury, they're playing Grisham a lot in center, which makes sense. Now Verdugo's leading off. Dude, he was batting cleanup. Now he's like, what are you doing, Aaron Boone? Volpe was good in the leadoff spot, getting on base. So why is he batting sixth or seventh? Judge now has been playing some right field, which is good. TJ LeMahieu's gone back and forth between first base and third base when he's not either of those positions. He's a second baseman. And Luke Weaver's in a bullpen when he's probably should start, but they have enough starters, I guess. Ref Schneider, you could fill a whole second base because you've been a good hitter, but you're not an outfielder. 2 is great. O'Neill and Devers, any combination 3 through 4 is great. Hamilton, if he bats second, cool. But a Brady batting third, no. Like, he was good in the 2 spot. You want to bat him 6th or 7th or 8th, that's cool. And then Romy Gonzalez, he's not a first baseman. Oh, my God. Okay, Cardinal. Win leading off, that's been great. Burleson and Donovan, I know if they play the outfield because of all the injury, and there's no room in the infield, so it makes sense there. CJ Abrams and Lane Thomas 1 and 2 makes sense. But DHing Harold Ramirez and then batting third. We did this with Tampa Bay. He's not a power hitter. He's not a middle lineup hitter, so don't waste a DH spot on him. And then Wood, it was supposed to replace Eddie Rosario. That means middle lineup, not second. And then we've been over this. Keibert Ruiz and Garcia, both are good players for them, but they're not middle lineup hitters. Pittsburgh, Reynolds second has been great, but Cutchin should not be leading off. Carter Joe played some first base, but again, not an outfielder. Palacios leaded off. I thought that was cool, but then they were like, let's put him in the middle lineup. What are you doing? And then Gonzalez, again, they put him in the middle lineup. He's not a middle lineup hitter. Mets, the whole Lindor leading off. I've had a problem with that, and Nimmo batting second is fine, but Lindor's been on fire. The Mets been on fire. Nimmo's batting second. He's been on fire, so fine. Torrance, who most teams would be a third-string catcher, you don't bat him sixth, and they use him in a blowout, which is what they do with backup catcher. Budo, I think, should be in the rotation. Same thing with Hauser instead of McGill and Peterson, but it's just me. Jeff McNeil, stop playing the outfield, bro. Like, what are you doing? Okay? Nico Horner leading off and Michael Busch batting second. That's been good for the Cubs. But again, Busch is not a first baseman. The whole Bella, Seiya, Happ, Morel 3 through 6, whatever combination of who's playing center field, right field, DH, whatever it is, has been good. So, Belly's gone back and forth between center field and right field. Wisdom, again, the dude is barely batting like 2-something. He should not be batting second. Smiley, again, pitching a bullpen when they have all these injuries. I think he should start. And Master Boney is a utility infielder, but not an outfielder. LA. When they were here playing the Cubs, I was like, what are you doing? Why is Taylor Ward batting leadoff and Sean L batting second or Sean L batting first? Like, those guys should be the heart of your lineup. I love Pilar. He's a glove first player, not a 3, 4, 5 hitter. And then we over this Tice is more, before last season, he played more first base, third base, and corner outfield and then catching. And now Anthony Rendon's back, so Miguel Sano's gone, so they lose some power in the middle lineup. Well, guess what? I thought, oh, cool. Taylor Ward, Anthony Rendon, and Sean L are going to be 3 through 5. Nope. Chanel second, and they're putting Rendon in the leadoff spot. Rendon was not a leadoff hitter. Where have you been? Ron Washington, what are you doing? And then Miami. Jazz isn't leading off, and De La Cruz batting second is great. We know it's Jazz still on a center fielder, and wasting a DH spot on Cruz is silly. You could DH Rivera or Bell or Berger. And speaking of Bell, not our 2-hitters. They keep in the middle lineup. Myers. That dude's like the 4th or 5th outfielder this team has had. Not a cleanup hitter. Nick Gordon, stop playing in the outfield. Dude's not an outfielder. Same thing with Brujan and Man Rivera, the utility guy, for them pitching a blowout. And finally, the White Sox. Pham and Benintendi 1 and 2 has been a very good idea. Then the White Sox have to confound it by betting Vaughn or Sheets second. Like, what are you doing? And then again, I know Eloy's back, so Sheets has to bat, but there's nowhere else to put him, so you got to put him in the outfield, which is stupid. Lenan Sosa batted leadoff, which I thought was a little weird, but it's fine. But he's more of a power hitter. And then Soroka and Cool both pitched both. Michael Soroka was bad as a starter. That's why he's in the bullpen. He's been bad as a reliever. He should have been cut. I think he's going to be free agent instead of Tim Hill. The Sox could have used a veteran or left-handed pitcher instead of Soroka because now Chad Kuhl's the long guy and you got Anderson, so there's no point. But again, Kuhl's the starting pitcher pitching on a bullpen. And lastly, Corey Julks. Like, if Tommy Phan's playing center field, that's cool. He's been a center fielder like his whole entire career before he moved to the corner and DHing some days. He is not a center fielder, Corey Julks. He's never been his game. Thanks again for listening to another edition of MLB Observations Week 15 for the 2024 season. For Unrated Table Block, I'm Ryder. See you guys next time.